Hi everyone! In today's video I'm going to make realistic fruit-shaped mousses, specifically two different kinds since these are the two molds I managed to get. One is a raspberry and the other is an orange. I saw the recipe in a TikTok video and I'm going to make it based on that now. So everything you see me doing here, don't take it as the final word because I'm really making this for the first time. And what I'm most curious about is how much one of these mousses will cost. Because when I first saw these fruit mousses in a video, I already wanted to taste them. But when I saw that one of these cakes cost 2,000 or 3,000 forints, well, that's where I drew the line. And finally, I decided to make them myself, and at the very end of the video there will be a summary about how much it costs to make one piece. I'll total the shopping cost, including silicone molds and everything else, but only at the end of the video. Now let's get started. First of all, I need to make a fruit puree from the raspberries and the oranges. Altogether, we'll need 230 grams of fruit puree. This is 300 grams of raspberries, so I'll put in a little more than half of it, just by feel, just by feel. And I'll add, let's say, about 2 tablespoons of sugar to this. There's the second one, that's it, no more. Let's turn on the heat underneath and keep it on low, more or less. Out of 10 levels, I've set it to 3, well, actually to 4. And then you need to stir this for about 5 to 10 minutes until you get a fruit puree out of it, basically. So the raspberry puree is ready. This is more or less how it should look, and now we're going to strain it. First, put about 100 grams here, so a little less than half. It. There wasn't as much juice coming out of it as I expected. And now we're going to take a sheet of gelatin, soak it in a bit of cold water, let it soak for a bit like this, and then we'll drop it into this fruit puree that we just strained. You don't need to heat this up again, it's still hot, and the gelatin should dissolve in it. Just stir it in nicely. And now I'll just take this and pour it into these small molds. I want to fill at least 6 of them because I want to make 6 raspberry mousses and 6 orange ones, so this should be enough for at least 6. Oh, actually, I could have made more than 6 with this. Now this could go into the freezer, but first I'll make 6 orange ones as well. But before that, I'll strain the remaining raspberry puree. Okay, I think this is strained too. I'll set this raspberry puree aside for now, I'll need it later, but I'll make a similar puree from oranges, just a bit differently. First, I'll peel 3 large oranges. These aren't just large oranges, they're giant oranges. The point is I'm going to blend them now so the whole thing becomes as juicy as possible. Now I'll pour this into this container and then I'll blend the remaining 1.5 oranges as well. But we won't put this one in, this one is the survivor. And now I'll add 3 tablespoons of sugar to this since this batch turned out much bigger than the previous one. There we go, and we'll stir this a bit too. I've already turned on the stove underneath and we'll meet again in about 10 to 15 minutes later. The orange puree is ready too, so we'll quickly strain this as well, just like the rest. Wow, this turned out to be a big batch. And now from this orange puree, we need to measure out exactly 100 grams. Yes, the recipe gives it in grams, but let's say that's roughly 100 to 125 milliliters. And just like before, we'll take a sheet of gelatin, soak it a bit in cold water, and then add it to the hot orange juice. Let's stir it in now. And now we'll fill 6 of these little spheres with this as well, like this. I already filled the remaining 3 since they're here. And now these can go into the freezer. Namaste, here's the situation. I reheated the fruit juices. I didn't make it hot. In fact, the orange juice is still heating up because I still need to add 1 more sheet of gelatin, but before that we just soak it quickly in water like this. I've already poured out the previous water, so we put this in here. While that's dissolving over there, I'll measure out into this bowl. 240 grams of whipping cream, then I'll quickly whip this into whipped cream. Now we need to measure 70 grams of white chocolate into this raspberry juice and melt it in there. Now you can pour this into the whipped cream and mix it together if you want. If not, you can eat it as it is. Alright, this is done. I'll pour it back into this measuring cup because it'll be easier to transfer it into the raspberry molds from here. It shouldn't be this runny, but don't worry. It won't be a problem. Now I'll fill the raspberry molds 3/4 or halfway. The main thing is not to fill them completely. And now that I'm done with this, I've filled all 6 of them. They can go into the fridge now to set a bit. Okay, that's done. Now I'll do the same with the orange one, so another gelatin sheet can go in too. Wait, we need to soak it first. This is my first time using a gelatin sheet, so it's new for me too. Here's the gelatin sheet. We mix it up a bit, and meanwhile 70 grams of white chocolate can go into this as well. I mean, I don't know what orange white chocolate will be like. The recipe was originally for raspberries, but I decided to do the same thing with orange. So I don't even know if a recipe like this exists. This is just how I'm doing it now. And finally, we measure the whipping cream into a separate bowl and whip it for this orange mousse. Now I'll pour this together with the white chocolate orange mixture. We mix it well. And now, using this little measuring cup, since my big one is occupied, I'll fill the orange molds about halfway to 3/4 full. These will be good like this, and now they can go into the fridge as well, until they set enough so I can put that little fruity ball in the middle, the one we put in the deep freezer earlier. Alright, so I'm out later. And now both mousses have set enough so I can put this little fruit ball in them. Let's just see how it comes out. Awesome, check this out. It turned out pretty nice. Wow, this one got huge actually. And then we just place it in here like this, press it in a little, and then pour some more of this stuff on top, and that's one done. Unfortunately, most didn't get enough. As you can see, this berry is sticking out, and you can tell this one and that one aren't full. So at the beginning, I should have cooked all of it, that is all 300 grams. Anyway, now let's move on to filling the orange one. This one is done too. It turned out a bit nicer than the raspberry one. And now these can go into the freezer for a whole night, the next day. Now, the next step is to put 80 grams of cocoa butter into a pot, then add 200 grams of white chocolate, and now we melt them together. And finally, we add a little raspberry red food coloring. Now we can take out the frozen raspberries and see how they turned out. I'll start with one of the biggest, from the corner. It's a bit tough to remove, but look at this. For now, this is how our raspberry looks. Pretty good. Let's move quickly. Now, a skewer would be the best to stick in, but unfortunately I don't have one, so I'll try with a toothpick and a chopstick, but I'll try the toothpick first. I'll stick it in from the bottom like this, and then just close it up. Okay, got it. And now I should somehow nicely put it down here. Well, something like this. I'm going to add a little more cocoa butter to this, because I think it's not liquid enough. Look, it's much more liquid like this. You need just over 80 grams of cocoa butter. I think the next one will turn out better since dipping it twice made it lose its raspberry shape and it didn't drip enough. Here's the second one. Let's try it. Well, this one turned out much better. These are done now. I just need to let them set, and in the meantime, I'll prepare the oranges as well. Now let's see how these orange shapes turned out. Then, I don't know what this stripe around here is, but otherwise it's very nice and detailed. Even the grooves are there, which I don't think will still be visible after painting. And the oranges are done too, which turned out a little worse, but at least I made them. And now, I don't know exactly how long, but you have to let them sit so the cream inside softens up again. I'll show you the oranges too. You see, these turned out a bit white and spotty. That's because they didn't melt. All the cocoa butter is in that chocolate mixture, so what you see on it are pieces of cocoa butter, but that shouldn't really affect the taste. And you can also see a little burnt piece there. I burned the cocoa butter a little, but the raspberry turned out much better, and honestly, I don't think the orange is that bad either. Now let's leave it like this for 2 or 3 hours, and then we can do the taste test. So much time has passed that they almost started to melt, and now comes the well-deserved tasting after a whole day. Not sure if it's visible on video, but you can see the shape on the orange peel. I'm just biting into the first one without sitting down. Most curious about the raspberry. Let's see how it is. I tasted it while making it, so I knew how it would turn out. It's fluffy on the inside, crunchy on the outside, and there's that little fruit center inside as well. I think this raspberry one turned out great. The fruit center is especially delicious in it. Now let's try an orange one as well. Thank you. The orange one turned out great, maybe even better than the raspberry. Now I need to try the raspberry again. The raspberry one is great too. I don't know how it is at the pastry shop, but this turned out delicious. Now let's discuss the prices. So, in total, making the 6 pieces of raspberry mousse costs 3,800 forints if you break it down per piece. It's 633 forints per piece just for the cost of the ingredients. In the case of the orange one, 6 pieces cost 3,400 forints, so 1 piece is 566 forints. And so far we're really only talking about the ingredients. We haven't even mentioned the costs that come up during preparation. I understand why 1 piece costs about 2,300 forints at the pastry shop, even for these small ones. So the ones I saw in the video were a bit bigger, but since I didn't have anything at home, with the molds and all the ingredients together, I paid 13,900 forints, and really, I had nothing at home except for sugar. I didn't have to buy sugar, and that's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel, and have a great day. Bye.